Welcome back. Market Mastery, the 1 hour you need in the market to make sense of what is happening so that you can make an actionable decision to put your money at work and turn it into more money. Welcome back. We are coming hot off the back of Traders Paradise 2025. Thank you to everybody who showed up. It was so much fun. Rarely do you get 40 traders in a room to figure out how do we succeed. And we did, and we learned a lot. It was amazing. I needed it, truly life-changing for me, if I'm being fully honest. Didn't realize how much I needed it. So thank you to everybody who came and participated and showed themselves and really cared about what we were trying to accomplish, which was show people that it's possible. Because at the end of the day, what do you get, right? You get the belief that it's not possible, because that's what Wall Street needs you to believe. It's not possible. So you continue to just hand them money. Every losing trade, you're giving them a couple dollars. So our goal is to make sure that those trades are few and far between. And when they do, they come with a lesson that we very clearly know where we messed up and that we're not going to make that mistake again. So we're going to be talking about some interesting things. How will the Robotaxi event and speculation affect Tesla? Because that's a great question. And I think really for all of us, we care because it's a holding of ours. NVIDIA. You can see it up on the screen here. I mean, trading up against short-term trend resistance, but still climbing above 142.83 puts it in an interesting position. So the question is it finally ready to break out again? We're going to ask that question, and we're going to look at it. And then we're going to obviously talk about the SPY. We're in trades for the week. I'm just typing this up for everybody. This week, you will get a little taste. I'm going to do a throwback. We're going to throw the options trades. God, it's hot. We're in this fucking vest. We're going to throw these options trades up on the stream today, even though we usually don't. I'm going to do a little gift for everybody so you can get a taste. And then we're going to give you a link so that you can get these trades every week, trade the SPY, trade options, and make money. So let's get into it. Let's make this chart a little bit bigger. Bada bing, bada boom. That's good enough, I think. What's the one that was a little bigger? Yeah, there we go. That's good. Okay, so everyone can see the chart. We're looking at NVIDIA here. This is, again, we talked about how NVIDIA might be hitting that point in which we should be considering if this is going to break out. So again, regardless of what's going on in the macro, we do need to pay attention to this miraculous climb from the lows back in April, right back above 143 and change, which is a really interesting level. If you look at 128, that was our Fibonacci retracement, the reversion to the golden mean. This is the way that we need to look at this. So we're above that point, which is phenomenal, because that shows you that we have a lot of strength here and that buyers are still very optimistic, and we are holding up in a relatively strong bullish standpoint. So looking at that, what do we do? What do we do with this, right? So every time this breaks above 143, it sells off, and now it gets pushed down to 87, right? Easy buy. Now we're pushing 143 again. What do we do? And I know that a lot of people get stuck in that middle ground of like, I missed the initial buy. I get it. You bought it early. And I know it's frustrating to hear that. I totally get it. But the question is, what do we do now, right? Because the opportunity always exists. It's just whether or not it's the right time for me to take it. So when Tesla's trading above, or excuse me, when NVIDIA is trading above 143 up here, right? You can see my mouse right there, and it just keeps getting washed out and rejected off 150. Why would I want to be a buyer up here when every time buyers go to fight this battle, they get destroyed? I wouldn't. So then you see this thing again, sell down to 87. And now we're right back in this same spot, which to me, this W pattern paid out well. The question is, where do we go from here? And I think that for me, this is a critical level. I want to see NVIDIA stably above 145, which means I want to see NVIDIA above 145 for a longer period of time than we did here. So let's look. October 21 to January 24th. So effectively, for 3 months, this was trading up and down around this price. I would want to see another 2 months of consolidation, so that I know that the market is building up a support here. The market is saying, we believe so much so that NVIDIA is going to be one of the best performing stocks of the next decade. At least you know. And to Porter's point he just made, once you know how this stock is going to behave, then you know how you can take advantage. So if you know that this stock is going to bounce from 139 to 103, that's 30% every trade. You could have taken that same trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the last year. You could have taken that guaranteed 30%. So again, if you put 10 grand on this, right? You take 30% each time. That means you would have clipped 30 grand on Nvidia with only a $10,000 holdings. That's crazy. Why wouldn't we want to do that? Well, for starters, some of you may not want to manage that type of position. Great. Then just hold it long at the levels that we indicated. Again, if I buy every time it hits the bottom, I sell every time it hits the top, my trade is pretty well defined and it's automated. I don't have to do anything. So how do you automate the Nvidia trade? That's the big question. How do I take advantage of all these things that you're talking about, guy, and actually make money? I'm going to tell you. So I just shared that I like Nvidia above 145, but I don't feel as confident as I'd like to buy more Nvidia here. So what do I do? How do I deal with that? Well, we just talked about it. We really want to see consolidation over this level. That's kind of first things first, is how do we want to see consolidation. We want to see the market agree with our idea that this deserves to be worth $150 a share. When the market agrees, then we know we have a starting point, at which point we can then plan a trade. So what would that trade be? Well, if you ask me, I'm a big fibs guy. I'm a firm believer in price action, and I do believe that fundamentally that this company is very sound. So what I would expect to do with Nvidia is what I'm doing right now, long hold to 200, give or take, right? 194. Will it go? My guess is yes, based on all the data I have up to this point. That data can change at any point in time and totally change my opinion. So it's important to understand what you're looking at and what you're using to judge these instruments so that you can actually do it the right way. So if I'm basing Nvidia off of a stat that doesn't matter, I'm going to make a bad decision. So knowing that I need to see Nvidia above 145, okay. If it's not above 145, I'm not paying attention. Great. Now you know. You don't have to waste a single minute looking at a stock that's not worth looking at. If it's under 145, I don't look at it. I want to see it over 145 for at least a month or two. When that consolidation occurs or there's a catalyst and a breakout, I think the opportunity to buy more Nvidia is there. And that Nvidia I will hold to my target of, say, 195. So to answer that question, yes, I think it's going higher. When? I'd like to see some consolidation first if I'm going to buy more. But this is, again, the beauty of getting in early, which we did. I'm up 1,000%. I don't care if that turns into 800% for a little while. I'll do what I need to do. So can you? Because if you can, then this trade makes sense for you. If you can't, then it doesn't. Again, it's not going to match up to you if you don't agree with what we're doing. So to those that are new, I really encourage you to go to our WAP page and sign up for either the free trial or get the free guide to survive the stock market. It's phenomenal information that'll just get you started in the right direction without spending any money. Definitely take advantage of that. The link is scrolling across the bottom. So again, just kind of wrap up. I still like Nvidia. I'm still bullish. I want to see it above 145 for a month or two. I want to see some consolidation. I want it to prove to the market that it deserves to be there. And then I want to see it break 155. So I think the safest trade that I could take at this moment, if I wanted to buy more Nvidia, would be trading the breakout and confirmation over 153, right? Because look at it. There's $10 between here and then. If I can say, hey, with a much higher degree of confidence that if we break 153, we're going to run, I'll take that trade over buying $10 sooner, right? So we're giving up 10% that we could have made to reduce the risk by a lot more than that. So that's Nvidia in a nutshell. I hope that helped. Any other questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Let's move on over to Tesla. Okay. So we know that we have a big event coming up for Tesla. Um, I think it's June 20th, June 22nd, in Austin. So I think it's 10 of those robotaxis will be launched. So again, in just a few weeks, Tesla is supposed to launch their pilot program for Robotaxi, aka Cybercab, and the projection is that they should be able to get rides going for less than 20 cents a mile, which would significantly undercut all traditional taxi, Uber, everything else. There are a number of safety concerns. We all know people are going to be worried. At the end of the day, it's a robot driving your car, and there's always going to be a fear around that until everyone adopts it. So let's just wait till that happens, and then we'll determine what we're going to do. Either way, we are still in a very advantageous position with Tesla. Again, we bought it at 140 and below, so we're holding firmly. But even if you traded the range and you bought it at 200 on the breakout, see these red lines here? I mapped this range out for the members. So all you guys had to do was follow the analysis, and I gave you the trade. So you bought it at 200, you sold it at 268. If you traded options, you made hundreds of percent. So this is all about putting it in a format you can understand and use in your daily life. So for those waiting for Tesla, understand that all in, the chart is in an unbelievable position. I mean, it's you have to really zoom out to like accept the reality of the situation, which is this chart is unbelievable. But this chart is also showing you something very important. What is it showing you? What is it? What are you guys feeling right now? Looking at this chart, looking at these numbers, right? That's all this is these are data points turned into shapes. Looking at these shapes, what do you see? What structure do you see? We talked about at the event at Traders Paradise. We talked about structure, market structure, and that stocks need to be set up in the right way, both fundamentally positioned, technically sound, but also the structure of the overall market. Exactly. So to me, this has a bullish structure bias. Why? Because we keep getting these big expressions above this range. It keeps pushing, right? It's not pushing down, it's pushing up. So that should tell me that that upward expression is indicative of an attempt at an upward move. And to be mindful that that doesn't always mean it'll happen, but structure is the best start we could ever hope for. So again, Robotaxi events coming up. This is really their chance to kind of prove it. Kind of prove it. You know, the military and government contracts, those are key drivers to growth. And I think that's going to continually develop. I mean, as long as he doesn't throw it too much, but you only got a few years to Trump. And at the end of the day, Elon is so polarizing that you can't lose either half, the part that hates him or the part that loves him. So you're going to have to deal with him. I know Citibank went neutral. They came in saying, hey, valuation's too steep. The PE is over 200. We don't like it. But they're one of the only ones. So Q1 revenue is great. I mean, again, 39%. They're doing over 885 million a year. Government revenues up 40%. Commercial up 70. Foundry AIP growth was good. They had a few big deals. I mean, that Army battlefield deal. I know they did the NATO AI thing. They did work for ICE. Like they are doing so much more beyond what you see in the car market. So I think it's important that everybody knows that because that's a big driver of this, right? So we've been watching explosive AI growth be justified day in day out, right? I guess my question to the market is if that's what you're considering pricing in growth, then what are we doing here? This should be at 600 bucks. So what do you think the market is missing about Tesla that they're getting right about Palantir? I'm really curious to hear your guys' opinions on this. What do you think the market's getting wrong about Tesla that they got right about Palantir? Fine, you guys have been doing all that chatting. And which, I also want to know, which do you believe has a greater potential for growth from this point in the next 3 years? Is it Tesla or is it Palantir? Ooh, that's an interesting theory. Tesla, it's about what you do see, which makes sense, right? Very visible. And Palantir was about what you didn't see. Again, black box. I think that's a really interesting thought. Actually, that should have been the point of this whole thing. So that was a really good note. I would write that down. That should be a blog. Absolutely. Breckle picks Palantir, Pookie Tesla, Farouk fuck Tesla, Elon. Okay. Said Palantir. Adrian said Tesla. Vanessa Palantir. That's a pretty even split. So now the question I challenge you to each ask yourselves is, for everyone that voted, why? Why'd you pick Tesla and why'd you pick Palantir? Because you also need to have that answer. You guys are silly little biscuits. So again, that's a self-reflection question. Why did I choose it? Why? Because you need to know that answer. If you don't know the answer, again, jump in, Penny Boys. We'll teach you how to figure that answer out. Software versus hardware. That's a good argument. Okay. So now I want to ask you a separate question. Why do you have to pick? Why choose? See, this is how we need to approach this. We both just discussed, we're talking about competing opportunities. We need to be involved in both. I'm not saying we buy 2 EV car makers that also do software and a million other things. I'm saying we need to rigorously look at allocation, not exposure. So there's a time and place in which allocation matters more than exposure, and there's a time and place in which exposure matters more than allocation. So here's what that means. What that means is that right now, having exposure to AI is a great thing. However, what we're talking about now is, how do we assign appropriate allocation? So let's say we believe in AI overall. We want to have our money there, right? So we want to have it in Tesla and Palantir and NVIDIA, right? We want to have it spread around, a number of other names. But for me, as far as how much of my money is allocated, we all have agreed. We know we need exposure to AI. We agree with that. But what we haven't agreed upon yet is how much of that exposure gets allocated to Tesla versus Palantir, right? And again, the names don't matter. I'm talking about, we're saying, hey, Tesla might have the bigger opportunity here because they're not getting the price appreciation they should, that comparable names are, because they're just relevant to AI. I don't think they're getting that hype. So you'd argue that it's lagging a little bit. And there's also a lot they're waiting on, right? But we're kind of assuming, our thesis is Robotaxi will work and this will grow. So really, really, please think about, I know that's a little out there as a concept, but like, again, join the Discord and ask the question so we can actually tell you and help you. Because if you understand the exposure part but not the allocation part, it's all screwed. Because at the end of the day, what does it matter if we're exposed if we're not exposed in the right way? It's better than nothing, but also it could be more costly. So again, be mindful. You want the exposure, you know that, but what's the allocation? So for me, I would say it's leaning much more in favor of Tesla. So let's say I have 10 AI names, period. I would give Tesla 20-25% of that share. That's what I would do. Now, again, I have my own thoughts, opinions, beliefs. You might choose NVIDIA. You might choose AMD. You might choose Palantir. You might choose another one. It's just important to ask that question. Again, It's not about this name versus that name. It's I want to be exposed to it. Which names offer me the greatest exposure for the least cost? And that's how you determine your allocation. I should have just said that in the beginning. So again, fuck. I wish I could record that. I'm gonna go watch it back. However, I just said it was the way to say it. So let me go to a live rewind. Sorry, listening to it so I can say it again. Greatest exposure for the least cost, and that's how you determine your allocation. Yes. So again, rewatch the last 10 seconds. I don't know why I can't say it twice in a row, but I think that nailed it. So again, for Tesla, what do we expect to happen? Well, this is the monthly chart. This is showing you a good picture here, a very clean picture of a new structure forming wherein we're leaving behind the past. So if I'm you, I would discount all of this. Oh, too far. I would discount all of this. This is what I think the market's saying right now. Hey, we're tired. This is the old. We're not here anymore. This is not true. This is true. Now the market hasn't said where, how far, when, but when you see structure like this where this stock is just peeking its head up a little bit further each time, right? Again, we talked higher high, higher low. When that happens, the market's telling you, hey, something's going to change. They just don't tell you what. And I think what it's telling us is we are going to enter price exploration and we are going to find ourselves a new baseline of support. But it's not going to be below 328 so long as the event isn't a massive failure, which it very well can be. So again, understand your risk, be smart, take advantage when it's there, and when it's not, reevaluate. Go back to the drawing board, slow down, and make sense of it. Make sense of why there's no opportunity. If you can do that, you could be the best there ever was. This is 99% in your mind. Like, I could show anyone how to trade in 15 minutes. It's not hard. But possessing the willingness and emotional discipline is the hard part. That's the part that people get lost on. So let me ask you this. There's 500 people here. You guys have had a winning trade idea. You had some really interesting thoughts or ideas on a trade, and you watched it start to materialize, and then somehow you ended up out of the trade with a loss. Why? That trade is one of the best things you could dive into if you're willing to. But if you're unwilling to look at things that are uncomfortable, it's never going to work. You already have everything you need. I just didn't like it. Just didn't like it at all. I'm a visually stimulated person, so I need visual stimulation, I think. Maybe that's just it. It's kind of like how when Lou was talking and you were on the edge of your seat writing in fucking cryptography because your brain had so much extra compute, you needed somewhere to put it. It's kind of the same thing. So, again, Tesla, really, 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 really good structure. I think that the market's telling us that it just really wants to go up, and now we know 271. That's our critical pivot point. I would encourage everyone to put that on the chart. If you don't know how to chart, just go to TradingView, look up this name right here, Penny Boys, one word. I will we could publish these. So if you follow me when I publish the charts, you can see where we have the analysis. For Tesla, it's very simple. It's 2 lines. It's all you need to know. Above here, price discovery. Below here, price discovery. If it goes in this range, you know exactly what it's going to do. It has to find an exit. So again, when these trades enter these ranges, they have to find an exit. And the cool part is you have a man at each door. So nobody's going to escape without paying you first. So that being said, that's Tesla. Let's go into SPY. Do some quick SPY options trades. You will get the trades today. Today's your lucky day. I need everyone to start dropping tickers in the chat. Just do 1 ticker per comment. but feel free to leave 20 comments if you want. Any ticker you want to look at, we'll pull up the chart, make a quick decision on whether or not it looks good, and we will move on. We are not deep diving into fundamentals. We're not doing any of that. We're simply gut reaction, gut check. How does this look? And then taking a stance of action. So here we are in the SPY, and we're clearly starting to range off here. You can see that this thing has struggled to stay above 602. So I think I'm pretty comfortable saying this is the range that we're starting to see form. We have a long-term support going along the bottom, which is like basically this line is buyers lined up to purchase when this stock goes down. They just want to purchase it. So what you need to do is figure out how do you use them to your advantage. Well, if you know they're going to buy when they hit support, why wouldn't you also buy? And if you know that the sellers are going to show up at 602, 603, and they're going to dump on you, why wouldn't you sell before you got there? So again, think of it this way. You're going to a party. You got a bunch of cash in your pocket. You know these people are shady. If you know that and you still carry that cash into that party, you are asking to get robbed. That's the market at large. It's you bringing a pile of cash to a party with a bunch of people you don't trust, and then you're shocked when they steal your money. Versus what I'm telling you, following this range trading strategy where you define the prices ahead of time, this is like putting your money in the bank before you go in the party. No one can touch it. So I think SPY is range bound. I think we're heading down to 597 if we don't hold support here. So there's really two options, right? There's the bullish trade, which is support holds, and we continue to gravitate towards this point of confluence right around mid-June, where we either boom or bust. I think right now we continue to see sell side and we continue to trade this range. So I'm going to come out of the gate here with, let me go to my, okay. All right. No, that's not what I meant to do. Okay. So now that we know those levels, let's go take a little peek at the options chain. There we go. Okay. SPY options. I was getting a little distracted again. The point of this is to demonstrate to you that this shit is real. You can do it. It can happen. I'm going to reload this 30 times so you know it's a real screen. This is my actual trading portfolio that I use for the group. So you can see like how the last year's gone. It's gone quite well. We're up 45% over the last year. Just with these trades. I don't take any other trades. So let's get to the SPY options trades. Oh, we're not going to be able to do it. Sorry, I was just trying to keep it because I didn't want to show all the open trades. You guys you're in. Okay, there we go. We're here. All right. So again, with options, especially for this specific strategy, you want to have at least 2 to 3 weeks of expiration on the SPY. So again, remember we talked about how we had a few key levels. One at the top was 603. The one at the bottom was 597 and change, right? So those are our two levels. So we want to shoot for those. So on the upside, if that support hits and this thing blows up, I would say that we're probably heading to 605, right? We're currently trading at 601. It's a $5 move. So if we're 2 weeks out, they have options written, 605, $4.96. This would be the call contract that I like for June 30th. And then on the downside, because remember, we're always going to be prepared. If it breaks up, we trade the upside. If it breaks down, we trade the downside. There's no reason we don't make money. If we lose support at 601 that we showed you on the chart, probably going to head back down to 597. So we want to flip it over to puts, which we did. And then we want to go look on that chain to 5597. they're priced almost the same, but the delta is a lot higher on the calls, which tells you the market's probably betting on upside. So implied volatility is not too bad, but still, the 597 puts are priced about the same as the calls to the upside. Yep, just about the same price, which is great, but the implied volatility on downside is greater. So stronger delta on the upside because it's already been trading there. So that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, I think that those two contracts will work. And again, we're using the 15 or 30 minute to confirm on the chart. We want to see those confirmation candles hitting so that we know the trade is good. If they're not hitting, then we know that we didn't do our homework and that we are taking a ridiculous trade that we shouldn't be. So that's the SPY options rundown. Again, Porter, can you post the link in here for everyone? If you want to get these SPY options trades sent to your email once a week, it's $1 a week, and I'll send them right to your email. 2 winning trades a week. Bada bing, bada boom. I believe these trades have hit for almost a whole year in a row where we produced 100% runner out of just those options contracts. So if that kind of tells you right there how quality that analysis is. So that being said, we'll drop a link. You might see a link here from Michael Porter. There it is. If you want to get this sent right to you, go get it now. Yeah, if you're in Penny Boys Premium, you're still getting it. It's just a matter of it's in the Discord, and we'll show you where to find it. If you need help, please reach out, and we'll show you. It's in my channel. Get back to the screen here. Get back our chart. So we are golden. So those are your levels on the SPY. Again, those are the contracts. They worked out very well every other week. So I am led to believe they will continue to do that. So that being said, let's get a look at these smash or pass items. Drop your tickers in the chat. All I ask is that it's one ticker at a time. We're going to start up top with Kenny. I can't tell if you're messing with me on this. No, I don't know if that was that's a real name or not. Boof. Like, I know what boofing is. I'm hoping that's not what you're talking about. I hope you're not boofing anything, Kenny. But I also didn't think that was a real company. Where is it? Where are all these smasher passes? I scrolled up too far. All right, let's start with this one. Vanessa, hello. Good decision. Hymns. God damn. So here's the monthly chart for Hymns. I hope this puts it in a different perspective. When you see how far up this thing has gone. Now, simple things like fib retracements can help you determine where it's at. So you can see the retracements. And if you look, they match up perfectly with the chart. It's almost like this is telling you what could happen in the future. Surprise, it is. It's showing you where the buyers and sellers disagree. And clearly the sellers were too strong here and the buyers didn't have enough conviction to push it forward. Remember, if the buyers believe it, they'll drive the price. If they're full of shit, the sellers will beat it back down. So Hymns right now, it's a pass for me because it's up so much. 62 is a reasonable target. It hit. And as you can see, look at these wicks. See how they're real long? That means the hype drove it. Hype drove the price, but they weren't able to sustain it, which means the market's saying, hey, like, it was fun, but I think you're going a little crazy right now. So unless there's like a material revenue change, I'm going to pass here. Meta, that's a good one. Unbelievable. Meta is definitely looking stronger than most, dude. If you just go back and you just look at the beauty of this trend, this is what's magnificent. Today was actually a reclamation. So today was the day that Meta actually reclaimed trend to some degree, which is good because this got washed out. It should have just continued like this. So remember, you're just trying to get in before these huge pops, sell a little bit and hold on. And you just don't want to be red. So for Meta, I'm going to say that I'm going to go smash because I think it's starting to get really interesting. I want to see a little more little more chart, a little more confirmation because this volume is also bullshit. This is weak volume. It's no good. So I'm not counting on it at all. Not one bit. Oh, Chad. Chad says sad. Oh, any holders of Sad Boy, go in the get in there. Go look at what's been released. Blow your mind. I don't know. For some reason, this isn't showing up on TradingView anymore. Last time I checked. I don't know if there's something we had to pay for or what, but it doesn't show up on TradingView, so I can't actually pull it up right now. ET. And this is a dividend pair. No. Pass. No likey. I just don't get the upside. But this chart's not bad. Especially that segment right there. That's strong. I don't love it, but I would say I'd smash it if it stays above support dating back to 23. Otherwise, it's a hard pass. Hard pass. Jason, what the hell is this, man? SWC is some weird Canadian OTC or something. The hell? Yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking at, dude. So I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, we're just have to move on. I don't even know what that is. So this is an interesting one. This is one I'm very disappointed in myself about. I wished I would have bought this, but this is about to crater, I feel like. Look at that little hanging man. Poor guy. That's the daily. So I would prepare for some pain with this, especially post IPO. I mean, that's kind of the deal. I feel like you got to suffer the pain of the IPO and then you can come back. So I'm going to do a pass on that one. This one's very interesting right now. I actually like this chart. Volume's great. Structure's good. Oh, it's actually really good. Huh. Wow, that's an easy trade over 670. Holy shit. You could set it and forget it and never look at it again. Wow. Congrats if you caught that. APLD. I like this. That volume is, look at that volume, dude. I'm in. I'm taking. I'm done. I like it. This is good stuff. This one will definitely be a smash. I don't know enough. I'm not holding it, but I like it. I do like this chart. It's really interesting. Really interesting. All right, you got some on the U.S. markets for me, guy. ABCL, Apocelera Biotechnologies, and it's good find. Nailed it. All right. Yeah, this is going to be a pass unless if this breaks above 371, breakout play, 1000%. I wouldn't touch it otherwise. Over 361 or I'm not touching it. Very interesting though. This is good. I mean, look, guys, reverse splits up the ass, so just know that. But it's biotech, so this one's a smash above 360. Porter definitely had this one. This one's worth watching. ABCL, Absolera, PANW, baby, Palo Alto. Come on now. Well, that's my biggest regret, not buying that when this was selling off. I think this one is in dicey territory. It's all or nothing now. I think this thing either booms or it sells off. So I'm torn. I can't really give it a smash or a pass. It looks pretty interesting though. Oh, I already did this one. Yeah, this is a smash above 1350. Smash. Good one. Good find. MP. And guys, if you want these trade ideas right when they come out, just jump in, get your access to the Discord. Again, the link's at the bottom. Oh wow, this thing's booming. What do they do? MP materials. What kind of materials? 3x since July. Jeez, a lot of volume. Yeah, this thing's strong, man. Needs to go back to 40. So MP, I like that over 40. There's also an easy 20% trade to 40 if it hits. It's just this is a dicey place to buy because it is just boom. I was up 75% in the last couple days. So I'd be very, very mindful. Last couple weeks, excuse me. I'd be very mindful of this one. Decent setup, but tough. And now hopefully this is a great example. You guys can see what I'm trying to do here. That's the level I would have chosen. Here's why. Support, 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 pivot, resistance, resistance, pivot. So if I would have been looking at this chart, at the time it was breaking out. When it broke above 25.50, I'm buying. And I would have made a ton of money. Why? Because again, very clear range from the past price data. It makes it really easy to do this. You know where this thing gets unreasonably bullish. So that's why you do it. Wix. This is good. I love this. There's a lot of them today. It's good stuff. Damn. All right. Tell me that they're not driven by NVIDIA's growth. This chart looks eerily similar to a lot of these. And that's where you can really trade the macro. When you start to see these structures that are all kind of aligning, like think of that. Why is this chart kind of, oh, wait, we can do that, can't we? Like overlay. Yeah, similar structure. So you can see this is where they both took off, right? Right here. I'll make a little. And see how the structure is relatively the same? You get a new high followed by a relative low, followed by a new high, followed by relative low, and then pushing back up. So new high followed by relative low, new high, relative low, new high, relative low. Except this one didn't test yet. But start to notice these things. That wow, these names are these names are worth looking at in the same breath because they're going to follow each other. Wix's growth will be driven by NVIDIA's expansion, right? So, like, if you can figure out who's going to lead the growth, bet on them. And then find the beneficiaries that will just simply become more valuable because of the work somebody else did and buy those. It's just a matter of problem solving. So, we nailed it. Now, 10 minutes. I will not do another smash or pass, not a single one, but I will take any and all questions relative to actually trading, whether that be the mindset, the allocation, how you approach it, what do I do? But what we will not be doing is looking at more charts. We did a lot of charts. Now is the final 10 minutes. Even if we just sit here in silence, fine. 10 minutes to ask whatever questions you want to ask. If you're considering membership, you have questions about it, ask them. If you want to know something about me, ask. If you want something about a strategy or an indicator, ask. Ask questions. This is your opportunity. This is your office hours. How will I monetize you? Number of ways. Number of ways. And for you, there's a lot of options. Breckle, God damn it! I said no more smash or pass. I'm not tricking me into talking about LMT. Is that Lockheed Martin? Look at this, dude. This is just wild. It's a wild thing. There you go. Now somebody's talking. Yeah, Latvia. When you chag and master, I'm excited to see the trading plan you guys come up with. Great question, Jason. So Jason asked, this is exactly, yes, Jason, come back every week. This is a fucking great question. Are you investing or trading any defense contractor stocks? So right now, I'm not. I'm just not. I don't really know that business. I don't really know. I feel like you got to follow a lot of shit, and I get it. In my personal opinion, I think I can make more in other areas, but that doesn't mean we don't cover it. Um, so I do think it's important to like. I think for these defense stocks, like the biggest thing is that it's never going to be a like. It's such a small portion. I want to try to give you a thoughtful answer. Like to me, it's such a small portion that it's almost like I don't really want to pay attention to it. Like it's definitely something I would just buy an ETF for. Like if I wanted some exposure to defense contractors or government funding to war, I would just try to find an ETF that was relative to those defense contracting companies. Now, there's a few that I definitely would own, like your Lockheed Martin's. Like, absolutely. Why wouldn't you own some Lockheed Martin? And with Palestine and Israel, it makes it really hard, man. I mean, to Breckle's point, yes. So, like, as they go showboat and talk about how like this new missile tech is going to be blah 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 blah, then everyone's going to be excited. But like, the truth is, I guess fuck, you're right, Jason. This is a good call. I mean, the war does spark that tension. Obviously, like was it a couple days ago? I think 4 days ago. There's strikes back and forth. I know U.S. defense stocks usually see short-term gains, but I'm more interested in the long-term low effort. But I mean, really, I would just try to buy an index that just has your, Lockheed's, Northrop, RDX, L3 Harris. Like I would just buy an ETF that has those names and just trade on the macro rather than try to be right and stock pick the exact defense contractor. Does that make sense, Jason? Was that answer your question? So to answer yes, I would do it through an ETF and I would have a very small exposure there because on average during wartime, defense stocks only see a 2 to 3% bump anyway. And honestly, I think that already happened. So if they're up 3-5% in the last week, most of the moves already happened. So I'm going to look elsewhere for the bigger opportunities. Okay, great question. Should everyone buy SAD? SAD is the crypto community we built around the Odin AI platform that is meant to be a recovery, and not even recovery, just meant to be an emotional co-pilot for life. The beta is live, so you can witness it in the Sad Boy Discord. Now, here's the thing. This project is a moonshot. It is something that will never be the priority in a sense that we're going to divert our entire team towards it. We're going to keep doing the work, and we know the value's there. Let's get as many people out of it as we can so that we can buy it. That's kind of my philosophy personally. If you want to sell SAD, let me know. I'll buy it happily. We don't need to talk about it. I'll buy it back. Or I'll buy it on the market, either way. So I would say if you want a moonshot exposure of an amount of money that you would never ever think of again, that's what I'm thinking about it as. It's utility and driven by technologies. I know it's very different than what it originally was, but I looked at it today. It's technically up 469% over the last 6 months still. It's pretty crazy. From the initial launch, it's still up, I think, thousands of percent. So it kind of goes to show what those insiders are making when they bring these companies public and peel out all that stock. How would you guide someone mid-level experiences? Good question. Porter's getting it in. That question is about him, so I will answer it. The experience from mid-level to like taking this from I have produced some results, but I'm not consistent and I don't really know what it takes to be consistent. To me, that's the journey of the mid-level trader. You know a lot about charting, you know a lot about indicators and all this other bullshit, but it's the putting it all together part that is where there's still a bit of confusion. For me, it was doing less. It was paring it down. I would say you guys watched my journey from mid-level to better, which was 2.5, 3 years ago when I said at the beginning of the year, this year is going to be different, a lot different. I am going to take far fewer trades. I'm going to be far less exposed, and I'm going to be a lot happier. And what's cool is that we actually 2 years in a row beat our performance. So we are at an all-time high of our success rate in terms of our actual P&L of these trades based on our philosophies and strategies. So I made that step from mid-level to like what I consider advanced by actually doing less effort, less work, less research, and having a little more conviction in the execution. I think that's where the conviction is born, is out of those troublesome moments when you have the knowledge and the skills, but the emotional convictions required. I think that's when the real change happens. And I think you can find your edge by like coming to Trader's Paradise is one of the smartest thing. I think a lot of you walked away with a significant understanding of what your edge is. Do you work on cars for a living? Then let's figure out how you take that mechanical knowledge into the stock market where you can beat me at research because you know more about mechanical things. I know a lot about business, so I'm good at this. Learn about business, you create the market, but also if you know a lot about cars, you can still trade. Let's say you're a woodworker. You know a lot about your craft. You can find names that will benefit from what you're doing, right? Who is going to win in this race to the top? Pick that one or expose it across and just bet on an entire thing. Platinum is interesting. I've actually had a few really smart people ask me what I think about platinum. That's how I know. Because they're really smart. I think they're a lot smarter than me. And then they ask me, what do I think? And that's how I know, fucking look at that. So, again, if you came to Trader's Paradise, cheers. I'm so glad you were there. It was a life-changing experience. I needed it, so thank you. As always, you guys are the best. You drive this engine and keep it moving. This year is a year of growth. And this is the year where I think we have more of a final version of our machine, a place where nobody can become someone. You don't have to have the experience. You don't have to have all the money. You just have to have a little bit of hope and spend a little bit of time with the right people. And I'm very fortunate to have the right people around all the time. So thank you to everyone that was there and that shows up here every week. You guys humbled me. I mean, it's an honor to be on here, and even few people listen, let alone a couple hundred. So thank you guys. This stream is going back to its original form again. Shy has took that job at Futurum, so he's going to be doing a lot more media spots. Still my guy, still boys. We're still going to do some together, but for now, just his schedule in mind. I want the consistency of every week, same time. And we're going to do a lot more. I think the stream is going to go back to kind of a lot more of what was, where we talk about more of the why, less of the what, and then walk away with a few very reasonable trade ideas and call it a day. Again, I love y'all. Stay blessed now. Bye-bye.